We're in Berlin at the 3rd annual INSEAD Healthcare Alumni Summit, and our next guest is Elan Dekel. He's a former Google product manager, and he's now just founded his own company, Medico.com. Elan, welcome to INSEAD Knowledge.
My pleasure.
You launched Medico.com on June 8th of this year, 2011. You launched in Spanish. Why was that?
So we're targeting global markets, markets outside the US. When we looked at the potential markets we could go after, we thought Spanish language would be a great one. It covers a huge population. Markets are relatively fairly well advanced. A lot of countries like Spain, Argentina, Chile, Mexico, a lot of internet users. Some countries like Spain even have very well developed online advertising ecosystems. So we thought that Spanish made a lot of sense for us as our first market.
You're not targeting the US anytime soon. Is that because of WebMD, which is kind of the Goliath of the industry there? Are you looking at other products for the US?
So we do have users in the Hispanic market in the US right now. And we're actually going to be doing a lot more to try and attract them and partner with Hispanic portals and the like in the United States. So we think there's actually a very big untapped market there.
Who is your market? Are you focusing on diseases or health concerns? What's your motto?
We're basically providing access to high quality health information and providing a platform for patients to share their experience and their knowledge with other patients. Again, that's our initial product, which we feel is kind of the low-hanging fruit, kind of the basic thing that we need to provide in many of these markets that don't have much health information online. Once we build our brand and build market share in these countries, then we feel that there's a whole long list of other products that I'd love to launch. What's
your business model? How do you make money?
The first phase of our business is very much a consumer-focused site. So it'll be monetized using advertising, sponsorships, and things like that. Later on, as we grow and as we have a brand and we launch other kinds of products, then I can see us experimenting with other business models. But for now, we're very much a consumer internet company.
How is the healthcare business itself, the payers or the providers, how are they accepting your business model?
So we're not interacting with them that much yet. I assume at some point we will, clearly. But right now, we're trying to go directly to the consumer via Google and social networking platforms, Facebook, Twitter, things like that.
It seems as though there are tons of logistics here, and languages are probably not the most difficult. How do you prioritize everything?
As you said, you're exactly right. There's a lot of different types of issues. The first issue you have to deal with is internationalizing your platform, the software platform. So there's a bunch of decisions you have to take right up front about how do I build this platform so it can support multiple languages and within languages, multiple things like different payment systems and currencies and things like that. So that's one bucket of issues. Another type of issue is different regulatory concerns in different markets. You have to get lawyers in different markets, and they have to analyze for you what are you allowed to do on the advertising space? What can doctors do or not do online in this market? That sort of thing. There's content. If you have to acquire content, like part of our service is a reference sort of encyclopedia of conditions A to Z, and we have to research which is the best one for each market, and then acquire it. Then, as you said, it's knowing a bit about the market. Which conditions should you promote first? Then there's what partners do you want to work with to get the word out. And we're actually signing up medical ambassadors in each market who can help us understand the market, help us think strategically, and also help us with their network. So, for example, we just announced one in Spain. He's a doctor that actually appears on TV and on the radio, so he's fairly well known. And we're going to try and replicate this model in multiple markets. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things. Each one of them is not particularly difficult, but it's keeping it all straight and making sure it all happens on time.
You run most of this business where?
I'm based in New York, and our company, which is pretty small right now, is based there. We have 6 full-time employees and probably 3 or 4 contractors. 4 of us are in New York, 1 is in Brazil, 1 is in Israel. The contractors are all over the world. We're big users of Odesk and Elance.
So you're a good example of how a business can be small, but online be global at the same time.
The point at which we start selling and having to have salespeople on the ground in a market full time is when the story gets a bit more complicated and we have to actually set up a business in each country, set up a local corporation so we can hire that person, so they can get money from customers. So yeah, that is a slight step up in complexity for sure.
And is that in your sights part of the way you see the company in the next 5 to 10 years?
Again, it's a phased approach. So we're currently in the seed stage of the company. We raised a bunch of money so we can build the product, iterate on it, figure out the model for the company. And then the next round of financing, which we hope to do shortly, will be to scale up the business. And as we scale up, it's establishing offices in different markets so we can sell and engage with partners.
Let me end by asking you what's influenced you. First of all, it must be Google, but I'm also wondering about the late Steve Jobs.
So I think I'm influenced by both, definitely. First of all, from Google, I'm influenced by just how Google does things. So when I went to INSEAD, it was after I'd done my first startup. So I'd actually shut down that startup. And I said, okay, now I want to go to business school, learn all of these things that I realized I needed and that I didn't know when I did my first startup. And then after going to INSEAD, I said, okay, now I know even more, but I realized that I even have bigger holes in my education. So what I wanted to do was learn how a company, a successful company that's fast growing, scales up. And that's what I went to Google to learn, and I learned that in spades. And I think from Steve Jobs, the lesson that all of us should learn is, the value of design, great design, and building products that people love. And I think one thing that people may not appreciate about Steve Jobs is that he designed his products without necessarily doing focus groups and all that stuff that people learn is the right way to do things. Like, he had a very clear vision of what people want, and he made it. And many companies, they build something and then they say, they test it with a whole bunch of people and they go left and they go right, and they may end up with something that people want or may not want. But he was very much the type of designer that knew what people want and built it, and he was successful. I think it's hard to be Steve Jobs, but we can all try.
Elan Dekel, thank you very much for being with us on INSEAD Knowledge.
Thank you.